So, because yeah, so everybody welcome, and if anyone can see on Zoom whether we're recording or not, I hope that we are. This is Gerald Knezek. For many of you, this will be the first time you're online. We just had a recording posted of Leah's analysis. I believe Doug Darby just put it into the introductions area. No, in the class recordings area. Thank you, Doug. And so this is the second session for tonight, but I want to take about 5 minutes just to go over things people have asked questions about. First of all, what's in assignment one? And those 6 or 8 in the room have already heard this, but assignment one is factor analysis and a description of that factor analysis posted. The due date was last night at midnight. We're giving you a bonus point if you got it by last night. None, no penalty if you get it by midnight tonight. There was some misunderstanding about people who did all 3 analyses and going on to their paper, but we still need you to be able to understand what the different parts are. So post your factor analysis. What should you post? Well, probably for most of you, it's a table that shows how much total variance is extracted of the common variance in the matrix. The scree plot is something that I always look for. Third thing is a rotated component matrix, it's called. And probably it's easiest to paste those into a Microsoft Word document. Maybe it'll be 2 pages long and then just attach the whole document. But it's quite okay if you just paste them in individually. But what you need to do is in your description, the place where there's a text window when you do your posting to assignment one, is you need a few sentences to say, what did you find? What's the data and what does it mean? How many factors do you see and what are the factors and those kind of things? Because just the numbers on the output won't tell us any of that. You're the one who's the expert. You're the one who has to tell us the meaning. So anybody in the room, are you all okay with assignment one? So no penalty if by midnight tonight. What are the penalties if you can't do it by tonight? That was another question. Well, the answer is a late assignment will eventually get to where it's it's worth no more than 80% of the original amount it was due. How long does that take? The answer is 2 weeks after it was due. So the first week, if you're late, well, don't feel like you have to go hang yourself or something. Just get it done when you can. You've lost 10% for the first week. You lose 10% for the second week. By the end of the second week, you better be moving on. Forget it, because otherwise you're going to miss your next assignment, and you don't want to do that. And I'll remind everybody, roughly a third of your grade is in the final paper. So all of these things are meant to be cumulative exercises that you can post. Everybody okay? Yes, Debbie. And can you come on up? Yeah, I can't hear you from here.
I took the information from SPSS from output and made my own chart because it looked nicer.
Okay, Debbie, yes, Debbie said she took her information from the SPSS analysis because it didn't look very pretty and made her own. And is that okay? Yeah, unfortunately, it might be a bonus point, so it's not okay. So no, you can dress up better than SPSS. As many of you know, SPSS output is not APA style. And so you'll have trouble when you're writing your journal articles. Trouble is not the right word. It'll be a pain in the rear to have to take the SPSS output and retype it into a standard APA style table. And so, yes, it's quite okay. And in fact, that's very nice if you decided that you wanted to dress it up beyond what comes out of there. And so did that answer your question? And for everyone else too. No, I'm always happy, and I'm halfway joking about bonus points now, but not so much. I mean, if you do more than it's expected, that's fine. Just don't do too many more pages in your final paper than is expected. That's not fine. Small is beautiful to me. So 5 pages, well, maybe you won't fit it all in there. 10 pages is okay. 15 is probably all right. 50, no way. You'll get subtracted points for your paper being too long. So don't do that to me. I don't have time to read them. Yeah, that's okay. But anyway, thanks, Doug. Are there a few on? Because we're recording all of this and they can hear it later. Okay, so that's about assignments, 1, 2, 3, and please note the due dates for the others. The first one is to post your factor analysis. The second one is to post your hierarchical cluster analysis. The third assignment is to post your multidimensional scaling. And for most of you in this class, I think there's only been one so far where that won't fit what you're doing. The idea is after you post these, will you combine all of them into your paper and then put them all together and say, what does it mean to you when you look across all of these from the different perspectives? Everyone okay? So this is not meant to be a difficult course at all. Actually, I think it's a fun course. I hope you do too. I love looking at all of these different persons' data. Yes, Leah, question. Oh yeah, in fact, we'll probably do that tonight. In Leah's analysis, which we just finished, we focused on factor analysis and higher order factor analysis. In Jim's data, we're going to go through factor analysis, we'll sort of breeze through it and move on into other stuff, which will be cluster analysis. And then maybe we plan to do a third one tonight. I think we'll make it. And then who knows, we might even get to focus on emphasize multidimensional scaling by the third time.
I missed it.
So we'll
happened?
repeat this over and over again. And for all of you who feel like it's a little foreign still, after 2 more weeks, it won't be.
Why would you even throw
it? So
Is this the catcher?
just bear with us.
It's not good.
There are many other scaling techniques that we're not
So half these runs
really
have just
covering
been on,
in detail in the book.
Oh my
If we
God.
proceed at the pace we're going, we'll at least get to unidimensional scaling and go back to our little map analyses.
They're just stealing every base and we can't.
But I think it's better if you understand more fully a few than to try to just shotgun you with a lot. Everybody okay? All right. So without further ado, were there other questions in the room? Oh, someone asked the question of how soon will I get the grade posted in Moodle for assignment 1? It was only due at midnight last night. So the answers are twofold. One is not very soon, and actually it's never. I do not put my grades in Moodle. I keep them on a spreadsheet separately, and I will try to send out notices as soon as I can get through them of your progress on the grades, but generally it's an email that will be directly to you. And in general, if you don't get a message from me that says, we better talk, you're probably doing fine. And so your assignments are not just checkoffs, but they're meant to be practice activities for what you put together into your paper. So the main point is your paper. You can do minimal or extra and get extra credit on the assignments, but don't burn up all your energy on the assignments. Just get them done. Make your work of art be your final paper. Everybody okay? And so that's the goal in this class. Yes, Shay.
4 steals, 2 runs.
Right. Oh, no, that's fine. Just say, see attached description in the Word document. Put something in the box so we know to go look and download your Word document. And you don't have to repeat it all in the box if you put it at the top of your Word document. So that's fine.
Oh, okay. Because in mine, I wrote my Word document. I copied it into the document and wrote narratives with that.
Right. I think that's what Shay did too, and that's fine. But when you post it on the web, there's a little text box. You must put something in there in that text box in order to attach an attachment, which is your Word document that has your real stuff. And so in that text box, say the complete report for assignment 1 is attached, something like that. And I mean, it's also okay if you take your summary from the Word document and paste it in there too. That's fine. I don't care. We're not grading you on. Is that okay, Shay? Yeah. And so please know that again, for me, the content management system is just a repository for you to turn in stuff so that we can all see that it's there and it has a timestamp and all of that. I'm going to pull your paper out as a Word document and review it at the end anyway. So build it with that thinking in mind. Does that answer your question too, Jim? Yeah. Nancy, did you have a question? Okay. Well, without further ado, we're really rolling. We're going to have two analysis done before sunset tonight. And I wanted to invite Jim to come up, and we're going to switch the screen to share screen. Then we're going to pull up SPSS, and we're going to pull up his data. Jim, while we're doing that, do you mind just saying where is your data in the Moodle?
Okay. My data is under Jamie Reborn in the assignments. I've posted twice, so there's a assignment 1, and then there's assignment 1 resubmission, which I posted like 12:01 this morning. So we're going to go with that data.
Okay, and it's an Excel file, I believe you said, that,
Yes, it's an
that
Excel
people
file.
should be looking at. So I'd encourage all of you out there, and also people in the room. And by the way, Doug, do we have any people online yet? Elaine. Okay. Oh, hey, Elaine.
I have my instrument there as well that I use. I have my instrument, my paper, and the SPSS data, and my Excel sheet, all 4 of them in there. And
Yeah, and I wonder too, with people there not being a place for them at 6:30, could one of you just send out an email and say, hey, we're live online now? Would someone post that in the forum and just click submit immediately? Yeah, at the bottom there's a link that says post immediately, and that'll let them know if they want to catch up. Okay, so everybody, we pulled up SPSS and notice it has some output here. But what I'm going to do is get rid of that stuff. And if we go over, oh, you can't see it yet. No wonder everyone's scratching their head. Okay, so we're plugging in now so people in the room hopefully can see what we have here. And is it displaying soon, I hope?
yeah.
Okay, so this is output from a former run I had, and I'm going to see what's in there. Everyone see this? This is Sanger content paired SPV output and the data set. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I think somebody's mute, but not sure where it is, but I hear it squeaking up there. So what I'm going to do first is get rid of this output, I hope. And it may be, well, actually, it's hard to pull down one of those screens, Leo, sorry. But you can sit over here if you want and pull. And then I'm also looking at the window to see the data set now is just a clean one, all right? So what we're going to do now is load Jim's data. And we do that with file something, what? Yeah, I like open data. And then Jim's data is called LTEC 6515 Jim's instrument, looks like. And so we're going to go to my desktop, I hope, and go over to, it's pretty tiny for you guys, isn't it? We'll scroll over. Well, it looks like here it's called LTEC. Anyone see an LTEC? Oh, I know why. It's because we're only looking at SAV files. And so we need to be looking at XLS files. And now Jim's LTEC should show up. LTEC 6515. Well, we're pointing at the desktop.
It should say LTEC 15 Jim's instrument data. 6515 Jim's instrument data G.
Okay, so let's look over here. Let's see, LTEC space 6515. These are all folders. It's right up here. I don't know, it's small, I know you guys, but here we're going. We'll try to figure out how to make this. So I'm hoping to say we can open this. And just again to mainly remind everybody verbally, it should pull up and say, do I want to read the first header row as the variable names? And generally the answer is okay. And so what we have now posted, it'll take a little while, but it's pulling up Jim's data, and does it look sort of like it should? All right, so everybody, I'm going to see if we can make the view bigger. Zoom file. I hope we can. Maybe fonts, I don't know. That's what we did last time. Changed it to about 48. Maybe that's too big. We'll try 28 and see how big that gets. Is that better? 28 is probably good. And so, everybody, I'm going to turn this over to Jim and let him drive now. So, can anyone see, or are we sharing the screen? Is anyone in there? We're okay, good. All right, well, good. So let's switch seats, and Jim, the floor is yours.
Okay, all right. So I am a visiting professor at one school, adjunct with a few others. I am visiting professor at DeVry, and they are doing a model in which they are creating more and more seats for online classes. You know, DeVry is a school that has many campuses throughout the country, and some students are not as comfortable with taking online classes as others, and there's also, you know, some instructors that are not as comfortable teaching online classes. And I've been teaching in a what's called a blended environment for the last several years, and where you do some of it online and you do some of it in class. Years ago, I always wanted to teach through the online program at DeVry, but it was a different program. They had their own department, and so you had to, you know, you had to apply and you had to try to get accepted into the online program. Well, because of this new model that they're doing, now they're kind of, you know, funneling people to that program. So if you look at my instrument, which is in the same section where my data was, the questions that I asked were basically, you know, asking whether or not somebody felt as comfortable, whether student or instructor felt as comfortable to use the online environment as they do for the face-to-face LE, the learning environment. And so I had 10 questions. There were 40 participants. The status that we see here, the status is whether you're a student or an instructor or student. So 1 is instructor, 2 is student. Gender, male, female. Male is 1, female 2. And the age, there's 5 sections for age, and it's 20 through 29 is 1, 30 through 39 is 2, 40 through 49 is 3, and then there's 60 through 69, and I included the 70s there, so anybody older than 60 was in the 5th group. Okay. And then I did a Likert scale with 5 options. Okay, all right, so we'll get started. One of the things I kind of noticed from an eye test was that it looked like, just a little bit, that the older students and teachers looked like that more of them preferred to do face-to-face. Okay, so I'm going to do a factor analysis. So I'm gonna start off with the analyze, and I'm gonna go to dimension reduction. I'm gonna go to factor. Okay, all right, so I'm going to grab just the questions, Q1 through Q10. I'm gonna move these over. Okay, I'm going to, for extraction, I'm gonna do scree plot. Continue. And then let's see, for rotation, we'll go with Varimax. For those of you who are online and weren't with the live section, we did a whole bunch of cool other stuff but I won't do right now. And let's see, I think that's all I have to do there. Cancel there, options. Okay, so, oh, okay, yeah. Sort by size and suppress small coefficients. So if you're looking at my data online, I know some of it's going to be a little bit off. This is why I came to the class tonight, to get some more of that Dr. KLC to help me figure this out. Okay, so Elaine, I know you're watching. I know I've been going back and forth with you online, so I'm going to punch it for you. That's our, all right, okay. I'm going to go ahead and punch it. Okay, all right, so let's see here. Okay, so here's my scree plot, which doesn't look like the snow clip that everybody else has gotten, so maybe you guys can help me figure this out. Yeah, or slippery plot. Okay. I have 4 factors here, and so I have here question 3, 5, and 8 and 1 kind of, right there together. Then I have 9, question 9, 10, and 7. They're right there together. And let's see. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
And so it looks like question 3?
Okay, question 3, 5, and 8, they're kind of together. And then 7 and 9 are together. Do you guys know why 6 was afraid of 7?
No.
Because 7, 8, 9. Oh, kill me. Oh, kill. 7, 8, 9. Okay. All right. So then question 6 and 10 and 1 are together. And then I'm guessing question 2 is there by itself. Okay. Okay. So question for like question 3, 5, and 8, question 3 is the online LMS gives me the option of having live synchronous two-way communication with my instructor's students. 5, the online LMS allows me start to finish interaction with students, instructors without the need for live human interaction. And number 8 is the online LMS makes me feel as if the administrators of the college or university are proactively attempting to assist me in the learning process. 8 seems a little bit different, but.
Yeah, so 3, 5, and 8 are put together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then question 2 is the oddball. Right?
Yeah. Question 2 is the online LMS allows me to reach the necessary instructor students.
Okay. It's almost like auxiliary ability. There. So let's go back and look at the screen plot for a moment. Well, normally it goes like this, and it's like a hockey stick. And so, just at a glance, how many participants were there, Jim?
There were 40.
Yeah. So one thing is, it looks like he's asking lots of different meaningful things. And I mean, lots of different things. And they're meaningful because at least 4 of them are above eigenvalue 1. So there's not one huge common construct like that and then a drop off down here, like he was talking about. And then also, but for me, it pulled out 4. that last one is probably a trash question. I call it that. Question 2 is probably that dot. But that's the point. Remember, inflection of point of 1, eigenvalue 1, one rule of thumb is, one way of thinking about it is that's the point at which a single item can do as well as one factor. Well, probably it is that single item. Question 2 that came out by itself.
Yeah, see, I did that too on the very first assignment. If you'll notice, when I started my assignment, I had trouble with this, making the information make sense. So I did run both of the ones that we went over at the residency, the hierarchical cluster and the multidimensional scaling. So I did both of those as well.
So we can do that right away, but just before we move on, first of all, this is a factor analysis. It looks like to me there are 3 strong ones up there, and then it starts sliding. And so one way I want to see if that's true is let's just take out question 2 and write it again. We haven't told you to do that yet, but that's one big thing. You can never find common variance if the item's not in there.
Okay.
And so if it really is true that dot right on the line is question 2, well, let's just take question 2 out and see if it goes away.
Okay. So we go
And so
dimension
you don't have to
reduction.
change anything and just remove question 2.
So we go dimension. Oh
And
goodness.
so it'll be analyze, dimension reduction. Probably we can pump up the screen a little bit somehow. I know you can't see it out there, but you can see it on your screen. Okay, well, you can see it.
Okay, so for those who are watching, I'm just running the factor analysis again. I'm just taking out question 2.
Yeah, remove it from the.
Okay, so everything else is going to stay the same.
Yeah.
I'm going to punch it.
Elaine, punch it. All right, there.
Okay.
Elaine has been 2 years consistently.
Yeah, looks like something changed.
Okay, notice now it's got a shoot, fell off the cliff like that. So okay, question 2 was one of those things that was really asking something different, but it was all alone. So it's not a bad item. You just need 3 or 4 more like it if whatever it's talking about is important. Otherwise, you can't make a factor out of it.
Okay, so would this be an indicator that okay, we took number 2 out. Do I need to, if that's, since there's only 1, do I need to go back and strengthen the instrument more, or is it fine?
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
But hold a second. Doug, you had a question? Sure. And in fact, we're going to do that next. Doug, when we removed it, there were only 3. So the answer to Elaine is, in fact, we did, but not by forcing it. We actually just took out the one that was factor 4. Now, to show what Elaine's asking about, what happens is, notice it's basically probably the same 3-factor structure. I can't read down here at the bottom. I apologize.
Which one? The number 9?
It looks
Q9?
like it's 7 and 9.
783. 783, and then
so
Q7.
the factor structure slid around a little bit.
Okay, question 4 has a -.722, and it seems to be like by itself with that type of number. It doesn't.
Right. So, but here's what we want to do to answer Elaine's question. Put question 2 back in there and then force it to be 3 factors.
Okay.
That's what she was asking about. And yes, in general, that's what you would do as a rule of thumb. When you don't have very many items to begin with, you don't want to go throwing them away. And in fact, when we go to our analysis in a moment, we'll use all the items again. So we want to put back in there.
Okay, so fixed factors is 3.
Yeah, fixed factors is 3, and then you want to put question 2 back in there.
I did. Okay.
And the question is, does it come out more or less like this structure, even though we're knowing that 2's got to be stuck in there somewhere.
Okay. All right. So nothing else changed but that, with the factor of 3. All right. And okay. All right. So let's go.
And notice he gets 51% of the common variance for factor 3. So that's with 3 factors, not too bad. That's fine.
Okay.
And you'll notice the screen plots back to the slide like it was. But that's what's important is down here. the rotated component matrix. So it looks like we have 5, 8, 3. And notice 2 was forced to factor 1, the culprit, and it's negative loaded when all the rest are positive. This negative is meaningful because they're all on true 1 to 5 scales. So it means it's on the other end of whatever that factor is, that you have to put it somewhere. What is question 5 about?
Question 5, the online LMS allows me start to finish interaction with students / instructors without the need for live human interaction.
Okay, what's question 2?
Question 2, the online LMS allows me to reach the necessary instructors, students.
Okay, so reaching instructors with the LMS is the opposite extreme of doing whatever I need to without reaching instructors. Right? Wasn't that question 5?
Yeah, question 5 says allows me to start to finish interaction with students, instructors without the need for live human interaction.
Going live. So that makes sense. If we force it this way, then question factor 1 becomes what sometimes is called a bipolar factor, where you have items that are out on the extremes of each end, and then usually a few clustered around one side, but nothing on the other end, except that one. And so that's what we have right now. If we're going to have to put question 2 somewhere, it's on the opposite end of factor 1. So everybody okay so far? And then down in there, we still have, is it 7 and 9 are still the same together, right?
Yeah, now it's
So the
yes.
structure did not change, it looks like. Remember that if you can, and if somebody can jot down like question 5, 8, 3, but those are the main ones in factor 1. Then factor 2, the main ones are 6, 4, 1. And 4 is strongly negative now, as Jim was talking about. I wonder what 4 is.
4 is the online LMS provides me with sufficient services and contact information for after-hour support from the college / university.
And what's question 6?
The online LMS allows me to leave messages with a student / instructor / administrator of my choice if they are not available at the time that I attempt to reach them live via the online LMS.
Okay, somehow those two are the opposite extremes of this. So question 4 is about reaching the instructor.
Reaching people after hours.
And then what's question 8? Is it 6? Yeah, question 6.
Question 6. The online LMS allows me to leave messages with a student, instructor, administrator.
So question 6 is about leaving messages, and actually factor 4 is primarily about leaving messages, I suppose, more asynchronous communications, it sounds like. I'm just guessing. As opposed to question 4, I guess means, is it live? Like
yeah, I guess I think 6 would be more live, and then the 4 is just that if, you know, when you interact with the LMS, you know, can you do the stuff that you need to do? Whether I'm guessing whether it would be like pay bills or whatever it is that you can't do, that you can't access a human being for. Can you do that on your own? Is it intuitive, you know, to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, and so what's shaping up here is in this instrument, Jim has lots of things that can be thought of as either here or here, sort of on the opposite ends of the continuum. And so, all right, so everybody okay with factor analysis? I promise we can move on to the next phase fast.
Somebody else turn now?
Pardon?
Somebody else turn now?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Sorry, no, you're going to do hierarchical cluster
Oh,
analysis
okay.
on these items.
All right.
So you have such interesting items that these bipolar clusters are, and maybe it doesn't mean the same as bipolar. Yeah,
Probably. I was telling Dr. Knezek that I was concerned about the instrument itself. Some of them, you know, maybe too similar. You know, maybe I need to try to work to make them a little bit more distinctly different so that they don't overlap as much. But some of them were done for kind of redundancy to make sure that, because if you answer one, if they're similar and you answer totally different, you know, then there might be a problem in the way that you understood the question or something.
Yeah, there's also a possibility. Okay, we're in 10 minutes. We'll do one more.
Okay.
So we're going to stay with 3.
Okay, so
if it's ever built me, well, I'm going to be fine. Sorry.
Hierarchical cluster.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so we're going to analyze.
It's under.
We'll analyze, classify.
And to answer Debbie's question, a factor analysis doesn't care if you have reversed it or not, but complex alpha certainly does. And developing a scale score is very sensitive. You can imagine that if you left it a negative, it would subtract from the public one. And so complex alpha, when you're trying to do it, these things are reliable, but not when you're figuring out what factor they are. Because all it does is multiply. First thing it does is multiplies it by itself anyway.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, so we're going to do a dendrogram at the top and horizontal. If you're clicking the top, I'm sorry, that was under the plots.
Oh, okay, so
You know, when everybody's there under plots, you want to make a dendrogram.
dendrogram, right? Okay.
And you want it to be horizontal, probably.
Okay, yeah, I did horizontal. So
okay. Under statistics, I think the all of that's fine. Yeah. Oh, what we are is.
okay, so we went to hierarchical cluster with analyze, classify, hierarchical cluster analysis. Yeah, grab a 10. And then under plots, we're going to choose dendrogram and horizontal down at the bottom.
Right.
If we, okay, are we going to analyze vector here? It says here, if we do choose variable, if we're not doing that one for this one?
No, you are.
Okay.
We were looking at the variables in factor analysis, so click on variables.
Okay, so I'm clicking on variables here.
Right. And then that part's okay.
Hmm.
And go ahead and click on OK.
Okay, so we'll run it.
And then I think we're going to go ahead. And then, well, it did run good. Okay. And so notice it gives you all these tables, and I always like to go down to the dendrogram at the end to see what came out. Does everyone have a picture like this? If not, it didn't click something. And again, just to reiterate what we said 10 times last week in San Antonio, these are the strongest relation items. These are the weakest. But it's not because they're out there. It's how far you have to go to get to the next link. The length of the string. And these are based on things like patterns. So on question 7, if I scored 2 and Jim scored 3 and Doug scored 4, but Rick scored 5, Debbie 6, and Leah 7, those patterns are the same. The correlation would be strong, even though the distance is very different. When we get to multidimensional scaling, it's the opposite. We want to know the physical distance. But here, it's due to the patterns match. And that's why the strings are there, and twirling them around makes no difference. That's arbitrary.
And 7 and 9 and 5, 8, and 3 also correspond with the information that we got off of the factor analysis.
Oh, yeah. And that's, yeah, everybody remember that third factor? Here it is right here, 7 and 9. These are brother and sister. So they're...
and 5, 8, and 3.
Yeah, and 5, 8, and 3 also. So these, they act the same, but that doesn't mean that one's not taller than the other. Yeah, no, thank you, Doug. Yeah, so question 2 and the other one Jim was asking about, that seemed like it always came out negative. Yeah, question 2 and question 4 are common because they're weirdos. The patterns are nothing like anything else. And that's why they were clustered together. But notice it's out here before they're clustered together. It's like, oh, should I just throw it out? No, I got to do something before I get off the chart. So, and these, by the way, rarely correspond to correlations. It's the strongest, like 0.8 maybe between these two if you ran it, and then like 0.2 way out here. And if you, it's not completely that way because you have to draw triangles and then add to the triangle and then things around so they'll all fit. But that's what it's based on. And when we first learned this technique, we would take the strongest 2 correlations and draw a line between them. Well, that corresponds to these 2. And then we would take the next strongest and draw a line to it. But you have to adjust them then because it's from question 7 to it and question 8, 9 to it. Are you always see? And then build it that way. My major professor used to call that triangular clustering. by hand. That's kind of what this does, but it builds up the same pattern. And this is much faster. Everybody okay? So this is hierarchical cluster analysis.
So if we're looking at
Dendrogram.
this dendrogram, how would we be able to know how many factors?
Well, it depends. Here's what Jim said is what I'm looking for. The first, is there something in the pattern that matches what we saw from the factor analysis that we showed that's the best? And the answer is right away, you bet. Here's one, and here's another one. So I'm already thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to cut somewhere along here. Everybody okay? I go at least this far and say that's real. Notice you can go all the way up to one cluster, and it shows all of them, everything that's in that table, starting with everything being its own cluster and all the way up to where everything's one cluster. And that's why I like this picture. So you can cut wherever you want to. But if you cut here, you would say that 6 and 10 are also on their same factor. Or if you cut here, you would say that 1 is also with 7 and 9. I don't think it was, so I'm going to cut here. In the factor analysis, I think 7 and 9 were alone, and question 1 was somewhere else. Wasn't it? In the factor analysis? But do you understand? I'm trying to answer Leah's question. Where do I choose where to cut? Well, by looking at the picture and seeing what seems to, it's a simple structure if the typological classification from a hierarchical clustering comes out matching the dimensional structure from the factor analysis. You hope those two kind of line up. If they do, you go, oh, that makes sense. And I'm home free, go right my picture. If they don't make sense, then that's when you have to scratch your head and go, okay, what's wrong here? But there could be lots of things. Literally wrong is not the right word. What causes them to have a dimensional representation that's so different from the clustering representation? And yeah, I know it's hard to see through. Right, exactly. So that the dimensional representation is inconsistent with the typological representation. The example I used last week many times was height and weight. You know, one dimension is height and one is weight. They're correlated somewhat. We know that. But that's not usually how we do it. We usually say, oh, here are a bunch of people that have much height and much weight. And we put a circle around and we call them big people. Then we have my grandson, he's this tall, 27 inches. He's short, he doesn't weigh much. And he was clustered at the zoo on Sunday all around with especially girls who look taller than him. But we call all of those, we can measure their height and their weight, but we call them little people. So we circle around, it's a typological classification that I think we said before here. It usually depends on more than one dimension. We put more than one dimension together to get a cluster. And Doug, usually the inconsistency is even at the lowest level of clustering that somehow these observers that are making the judgments, in this case strongly agree, disagree, that they're using more than one dimension as a human that we identified at the factor analysis level, but actually they didn't use it. That it might make more sense to think about it at the cluster level. And when you have this kind of thing, you can often throw in items that didn't come out in the same dimension and increase your reliability because they will be consistent in that this is based on the pattern on high and low responses, which is like correlation, which is basically the same foundation as Cronbach's alpha. Everybody okay? Yeah, and so we don't want to put these together unless we have to. So somewhere along here, probably 6 and 10 were in the same factor, were they? Anybody know?
We can scroll up and see. Let's see. 6 and 10.
So here's 10,
Yeah,
rotated.
yeah.
And then 10. Yeah, 6 and 10 were in the same factor, factor 2. Everybody see here?